Page. Chat with us at www.join.me/Iowa Pagan News. Now, here is your host, Lou Silverwolf Williams.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a live broadcast on YouTube. And I'm broadcasting live from Cedar Valley UU Church this afternoon. And I didn't really have a guest to join me this afternoon, so I want to take the advantage of this to be able to do a live video to get put on the channel. Is I'm going to start doing regular broadcasts from here so that I can post up videos to the YouTube channel and be really get all of you interested in what Iowa Pagan News is, what it's all about, and exactly what I'm doing. Now, I am your host, Lou Silverwolf Williams, coming to you live from Waterloo, Iowa. And this is the home area for Iowa Pagan News. Now, when I'm on live on site, there'll be a chance for me to broadcast live from events and other things that are taking place in the Midwest here. We have some opportunities to do a little bit of traveling and to broadcast live from events happening within the pagan community. Now, want to give people a heads up here that we also have a few new events going on coming up with the Cedar Valley Pagans. We've got our pop-up shop fundraiser coming up June 1st and 2nd, which is going to be at the Space here in Cedar Falls. And all the proceeds that, because we're going to be doing oracle readings, tarot card readings. We've got members who have made a lot of homemade crafts that all the proceeds from those sales will go directly to Pagan Pride, which is going to be September 28th. And that's going to be held at Pfeiffer Springs Park in Cedar Falls. So be sure to check that out. Come on out and join us. If you're interested more about what we're doing here in the pagan community here in eastern Iowa, this is your chance to do it. Also, next month, we're going to be traveling down to Three Gates Gathering, which is down in southern Missouri, down along the Missouri-Oklahoma border. We're going to be down there. It's going to be a lot of fun for everyone. It's a fairly large gathering from what I understand. This can be our first year attending. We had plans to go down to Heartland, which was this weekend. Unfortunately, due to a miscommunication with the powers that be, the director who I was talking to had resigned, and without telling anybody that we were coming. So, due to miscommunication and nobody knowing what was going on, I elected to pass this weekend, and I'll schedule for next year. But for Three Gates Gathering, it's going to be a fantastic time, not only just for those of us, basically for myself, but it's going to be fun for a lot of people. Plus, I get to collaborate with two other radio hosts from the pagan community, which I'm really looking forward to. That's going to be a really fun time. Now, what Iowa Pagan News is all about. This was developed back in when I first started doing radio broadcasts for Iowa Pagan Pride, when I first started off doing radio broadcasts for the pagan community. This was back in 2012. And I had really had a lot of fun with it. It was just something that was just going to be a lot of fun. But over the course of time, and it's now turned into an important job for me. I've had a lot of my guests tell me that what I'm doing for the pagan community is an important job. So that's the way I take it. I take it very seriously. I'm devoted to it. And it's something that needs to be done. Back when I first started off, there was not a lot of other pagan radio stations out there on the internet. Now we've got several of them. I think there's like a handful of us that are doing this, but the other two I'm going to be collaborating with are very important to the community, and I'm really looking forward to being able to spend time talking with them, collaborate, maybe even do a broadcast together. We'll soon see. But what I do is to pay recognition to help support all pagan artists, authors, musicians, bands, singer-songwriters, anybody who has a special talent here in the pagan community. I help to promote you. I hope to promote anyone in the pagan community, pagan business owners. They are just an important piece of the puzzle for all of us. And I do everything possibly to help support all of them. And plus getting all of you important information of what's happening in the community. That's what Iowa Pagan News is all about. It's something that I developed back a few years ago. It's something that is going to remain functioning for years to come. It's what I love doing. It's what I'm going to continue doing. And the nice thing about being able to have a place where I can broadcast live, I can actually bring in guests to join me and to participate in discussions. So this is the whole plan for Iowa Pagan News. What I'm going to be doing this afternoon is I want to share a couple of really good, fun songs that I've come to know over the years. A lot of you will also know these songs. And I just wanted to take the time to share some music with everyone this afternoon. This is not going to be a full hour broadcast like I usually do. This may only wind up being like possibly a half hour. But I do want to share with you some stuff that's been going on. The other thing that I really promote heavily is unity in the community. The one thing that I've got the time to do it this afternoon. I think what I may also wind up doing is to share with you the sermon that I presented to the UU Church back a couple months ago now, with a pagan perspective. Now that I'm also serving on the ministries committee for the UU, they wanted to also have me serve on the committee, bringing the pagan perspective into view. So I was very honored, very happy to be asked to do that. And I'm really looking forward to serving on that committee for the UU Church. Tell you what, let's get right to it. And the first song that we're going to start off with this afternoon, it's really kind of a special song that really gets people pumped up. And it's one that I've loved over the years. It's by a good friend of mine, S.J. Tucker. It's called Firebird's Child.
I am the firebird, I am his daughter. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird, I am his daughter. And like the flame, I am wild, 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 wild. I am the firebird, I am his daughter. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird, the boldest song you've ever heard. Join in the dance and make it wild, wild, wild. Join in the dance and make it wild. To see a maiden dance around the fire is not so strange, but fire dances around the limbs of this uncommon maid. Be brave enough to burn and you'll be brave enough to fly. Join your sister Solace as she lights the morning sky. I am the firebird, I am his daughter. I am the firebird's child. I am the firebird, the boldest song you've ever heard. Join in the dance and make it wild, 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 wild. I am the firebird, I am his daughter. I am the firebird's child. wonders of the water, air, and earth are all the same. You'll never know wonder like the wonders of the flame. Freely fly as what you are and never walk in shame. You must not fear to blister if you live a life in flame. I am God and Firebird, and Solace is my name. I am the Firebird, I am his daughter. I am the Firebird's child. I am the Firebird, the boldest song you've ever heard. Join in the dance and make it wild, wild, wild. Join in the dance and make it wild. If you're brave enough to dance, then you are brave enough to fly. Forget what's right and proper, you won't know until you try. If you're brave enough to fly, then you are brave enough to burn. Take my hand and join me in the carnival of turn. I am the Firebird, I am his daughter. I am the Firebird's child. I am the Firebird, the boldest song you've ever heard. Join in the dance and make it wild, wild, wild. Join in the dance and make it wild. Sister, will you follow me? Sister, will you follow me? Sister, will you dance with me? Sister Sorrow, walk with me. Sister, will you follow me? Sister, will you dance with me? Sister Sorrow, walk with me. Sister, will you follow me? Sister, will you follow me? Sister, will you follow me? Sister Sorrow, dance with me. Morning down, like a flame, you must be wild. 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 I am the Firebird, I am his daughter. I am the Firebird's child. I am the Firebird, boldest song you've ever heard. Join in the dance and make it wild, 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 wild. I am the Firebird, I am his daughter. I am his Firebird's child. I am his daughter. I am the Firebird, and Solace is my name.
Okay, now you just got done listening to S.J. Tucker, and this has been that's one song that I have always loved. Sorry, folks, I'm having to double up things, and because I forgot to turn the channel back up on the microphone. Uh, anyway, what I'd like to do with you this afternoon is share with you the sermon that I presented to the UU Church back a couple months ago with the pagan perspective for the UU Church. This is called Spiritual Reflection on Unity and Community. Now, this is something that I have been always promoting over the years, ever since that I have discovered that there have been rifts created in the pagan community, which to me did not need to happen in the first place. And what causes it is people get on power struggles, they get egos, and when people don't see eye to eye with them, then they want to go off and do things the way they want to do it. And it really causes problems in the community. It'll cause major rifts, which do not need to happen. When people can get over their egos, their attitudes, and see that we can accomplish more by working together, that's what needs to happen. All right. Good morning, everyone. Being able to be up here with all of you has been something I've wanted to do for quite some time, but not really knowing what I wanted to do or how to go about doing it. So as a spiritual leader in the pagan community, it has been suggested to me from several people who I look up to and confide in, get inspiration from, have all said to me that what I'm doing is an important role, not just as a minister, but as a spiritual leader, healer, and speaker. Now, a speaker comes about from me being a DJ and radio host. Being raised up in the Methodist church was okay. All of us kids got sent to Sunday school at the Methodist. Now, it was okay, but then once I was out of school, I didn't do anything spiritually wise until I was in my 30s and decided to try the non-denominational route. But after seeing how the members were flaunting their statuses and not really acknowledging my presence, I just said, nope, enough is enough. Then in 2003, a good friend of mine, while I was living up in Minnesota, she'd introduced me to the UU Church in Cups. It was then at that point I finally felt like I had found my place. I was learning what paganism was by reading and asking questions of others. Then in 2007, that's when I found out I was meant to follow two spiritual paths. One being paganism, the other was after I discovered my Native American heritage. Now, the really fun part about being a speaker is also being a radio host, bringing important topics to light, which I feel people need to hear. And that getting to know others for who they are, along with their desires to create art to inspire others. This is what brings me the inspiration for what I'm about to share with you today. So, what do the words community and unity mean to each of you? Now, here's the dictionary terms. Community, a group of people living in the same place or having a particular characteristic in common. A group of people living together in one place, especially one practicing common ownership, or feeling a fellowship with others as a result of sharing common attitudes, interests, and goals. Then, for unity, the state of being united or joined as a whole. Words such as harmony, togetherness, and wholeness. The spiritual meaning of the word unity, as it's stated throughout Scripture, is this. It speaks clearly of spiritual unity, a unity of faith and beliefs. If believers are to work together and be successful, they must be of like spirit and be in agreement of the message they want to express to others. Now, I had opened up questions and comments from the congregation at that time for like 5 minutes. And then, which was also helpful because I got to see their perspective on what I was sharing with them. Now, I'd also like to share with you a short writing I created one Sunday afternoon after listening to a very inspiring sermon done by our own Dell a few weeks ago, which basically is about a month or so ago. He gave a sermon talking about being accepted for other spiritual faiths and paths. This is something I've been trying to tell pagans to end the division and negativity towards how others practice their spiritual and magical paths. It is time to put an end to the division. If people cannot accept that there is no one set way to do things or one way to practice being Wicca, pagan, heathen, Asatru, or even a Christian-based path, then it's time for people to go their own separate ways. If those same people want to destroy the notion of unity in the community, then they are the ones we need to separate ourselves from. We all need to treat each other with respect and thoughtfulness. This will always be accepted in any group. Now, I'm all about unifying the pagan community and always will, no matter what. I'm all about doing away with the witch wars, the rifts that have been formed due to egos and attitudes. After 2009, when I received my ordination, I knew there were responsibilities that I had to take on very seriously. And one was making a commitment at working to bring the pagan community together by encouraging other pagans to work together at common goals, to set aside all egos, and to stop attacking people over their spiritual paths and beliefs. Something else that you'll hear me talk about is this. It is time for the hiding to end. It is time for people to come out of the broom closet, so to say. Stand up and say, yes, I am a proud pagan, and no one can ever take that from me. Either you accept me for who I am or walk away. Stand together to support each other. Stand strong. Participate in communities. Support what you believe in, and above all else, do these things with a positive attitude. Now, when I first began my own spiritual path, there were challenges among challenges which were presented before me. And one of those challenges was the discovery of a huge rift that had been formed long before I came into the pagan community, what I just got done talking about. This was between two groups who had been working together to promote unity until a power struggle developed, with egos getting in the way, which caused hurt feelings and some betrayal. It was also then that I was told either I had to choose one side or the other. And if not, then I would not be welcomed among other groups. So I stopped and I had to think to myself, how can they tell me, or even have the right to tell me, I have to choose who I'm going to follow or who I'm going to associate with? So my response to them was a very strong no. I will not choose sides. This is ludicrous to be telling people it is either one side or the other. It was at that point I made the decision to do what I could to mend rifts and bring people back together in whatever possible way. Sadly, that task was more than what one person could achieve, as there were people who were so against the very idea of unity that they would work to literally discredit my efforts. It was at that time I decided to take a different path and work with the skills I developed as a DJ to start up my internet radio broadcast that focused on music, events, live interviews, and spending time getting to know people for who they are and what their passions are, and the desire to create art, which others can benefit from and can relate to. Over the years, I've had in-depth discussions with many authors, singer-songwriters, musicians, artists who create works of art, which tells a story. And the one word that every single one of them have mentioned is family. When I hear people speak of the term family, whether it be spiritual, religious, or even a work family, I think of one very big house where you can learn to love and support each other. When you can look upon things this way, that is what will build up a strong community. When you can look at it as a big house, starting with your foundation building up from there. That's what makes a strong house. These same words were commonly used when people from all across the country come together for large gatherings, such as PSG, Pagan Spirit Gathering, or Pagan Unity Festival, Sacred Harvest Festival, Paganicon, you name it. These gatherings were put together to reunite with old and new friends, to reconnect and share their lives together. And that's the one thing that always comes out of these larger festivals, is that every single one of them referred to it as a family gathering or as a family reunion, so to say. Every day, so many of us try to keep our lives organized and to make sense of how we are managing to stay afloat, with many focusing on spouses, kids, their jobs, their talents, and the other important things going on in their lives. I think about a personality test I took at work one day. And one question still remains with me that made me stop and think. The question was this: do you tend to keep things organized, or do you improvise? Now, the funny part about that was I do try hard to keep things organized, but there have been many times where I've had to improvise just to keep things going. So the old saying still goes about flying by the seat of your pants when you have no plan in place. And I can attest to that several times. A lot of people may tend to argue with me about that point, about me trying to keep things organized. But I guarantee you, they're going to tell you that those who know me, they're going to tell you that I do try my best, but most times I am flying by the seat of my pants. And there's not really nothing wrong with that. But it's when you're putting forth the effort to try to have a plan in place for most everything, that's when people will look highly upon you. The one thing that so many of us tend to forget about is our spiritual paths and how we are to be following that path to help others who may need guidance or just a friend to talk to. How many of you take time out to focus on your own spiritual well-being, to be the best you can for yourself, your family, and for those close friends who are important to you? When we can all come together every Sunday, we spend time talking, venting, and at times crying, and sharing issues that have come to pass with those who we consider to be extended family. This time is something many of us look forward to each week. And when we do not have the time together, it is like having a void of being lost or uncertain of what is happening. But when we have this time to be with others who share similar paths, it creates happiness and a unification of our community. It's something I want everyone to really stop and think about. And I would love to be able to hear input. I do have the comments open. Being a spiritual minister and leader, the one thing I have tried my best to help encourage others is to stand together, to support one another, and to say, yes, I will be there for you and with you, no matter what the circumstances are. This is a message that we all must try to convey, not just to friends and family, but to people around us. For this will eliminate the negativity, the division, and uncertainty which surrounds us on a daily basis, created by those who are so focused on creating fear and hate. I know it's not always easy to be positive about things happening in our lives, but when we can say that we have done our very best, we can. That is all that matters. Unity is about working together respectfully to advance our common interests and to boost our common signal while we explore our individual traditions in depth. The end results will be that of building up a strong community from forming friendships and networking together, even in a spiritual fellowship, such as what we have here together. I've heard some people say we do not need unity, that we must support the beliefs and to let people follow their own paths the way they see fit. This is something I can support, but I am one who does believe in the reality of unity. I've heard others say there is no unity in today's society. People are blindly following a leader with no clear destination or purpose, which is why this message must be spread outward for others to hear, as this must change. I've spent the last 7 years encouraging other pagans to stand with me and say, I am a proud pagan, and I stand with my brothers and sisters to create strength and harmony. No matter what spiritual path you may follow, I encourage you to share your own message of unity with others, to show strength and support for them in your community. May the Lord and Lady be with all of you as you look towards the week ahead. Blessed be, aho, and pleasant journeys. Now, I would like to get feedback from all of you on this. The comments are open. If you would like to leave me a comment, excellent. Like I said, this is something that I'm going to start doing on a regular basis from the UU Church. And so I would love to get to your comments, your feedback. And please try to make them positive as much as possible, okay? Because the negative ones, you're going to go bye-bye. That I can guarantee you. Yeah, I would love to get some helpful information, some positive input, your feedback on the sermon I presented. And then you'll be hearing more videos from Iowa Pagan News right here on the Prairie Land Radio Broadcast Channel. Have a great day, folks. And I will be seeing you next weekend. Same bat time, same bat channel.